Slurpy derp, my G's. Hope you're all doing well. I've got another video today for phase plant because I achieved a little bit of success with the last one, and I used a couple of similar techniques to create an entirely different sound, but I want to just share it with you guys, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Anyway, before we get into that, I want to say a big thank you to all of our new subscribers. Welcome to the Circus Show. And yeah, we're almost at 3,500 subscribers. This is crazy. I didn't expect I would ever get more than 1,000, to be honest. It's only because of the reaffirmation of you guys commenting and stuff like that that makes me keep going. So thank you a lot. And when we get to 3,500, I'm going to drop a little free preset pack, free vital preset pack for you guys. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, you may as well hit that button, because then everyone will get a free preset pack, including you. So, this is the Phase Plant Space Pirate Neurofunk Stormtrooper Imperial Alliance Pirate Trooper bass, lead/ARP, and it's a sound, and it sounds like this. And we can create a pitched effect if I turn up this macro here. Let's go a little bit higher. That could be a really great fill at the end of a 8-bar section or something like that, couldn't it? Anyway, Tony's here to play as well. This is a really simple macro here, and I'm going to show you how I did the pitch macro as well, which is also pretty easy. But let's start off by talking about the voicing section and everything like that. So again, like, the effects are going to do a lot, so you will hear the difference when I take them out. It's going to be a little bit underwhelming, a little bit different. A lot of that main movement, it's coming from a low pass filter on a fast LFO that you can see here, LFO1. But, you know, to begin the process, we need actual sound sources, don't we? So I've done a very similar thing to I did on the Reese from yesterday, the Darko Reese. And by that, I mean I got a cool spectral wave table, and I FM'd it, again, into 2 sine waves. But they're detuning from each other. This time, they're not detuning as quickly as the Reese was, because the Reese was, you know, like a fast wobble. You can hear this is neo. It's a bit of a slower detuning, but that movement is coming from the 2 sine waves here, which are at a slightly different pitch, about 1 semitone apart. Again, we've got a little bit of white noise as well. And again, we've got a little bit of global unison stereo spread that's just affecting the whole oscillator section with a little bit of extra stereo magic. So, the first wavetable I've chosen is the screech mode, which you can find under noisy and then screech. And this is gonna, you know, it's gonna be the basis of the whole sound essentially, because it's the carrier signal for the FM. So you could cycle through different ones and get different results. And again, obviously, once it runs through all the distortion and you listen to it then, you'll get a much, you know, dramatically different sound every time. But anyway, we've chosen the screech mode. And just to already get Tony involved, what I've done is I've set Tony to be a macro for the frame. So we can cycle through basically the wavetable like this. And so obviously when it runs through the FM and all the effects, you know, that's also going to make a more dramatic difference. So what we do then is we set the output of this oscillator to sine wave number 1. So basic shapes, whatever it is, analog sine wave here, analog sine wave here as well. And we just set it to the phase. And again, what I've done is I've turned up the phase. So I've FM'd it to number 1 and turned up the phase positively, plus 13. And then on the second sine wave here, I've done the opposite. So I've gone negative 10%. And this second sine wave is then at minus 23.09, not minus 24, okay? And this first oscillator is at minus 12. Obviously, it would be very different if I have it down at minus 24, for example. doesn't sound that bad either, but I like to have a little bit of those higher harmonics coming through so that we have a lot to filter out when we get into the effects. So anyway, pretty nice and simple. And then we just got a little bit of noise here. And again, we're going to send this noise to the effects chain after the low pass filter to add in the high end again. So very similar to the last patch again, but here are the few differences that come in. And mostly it's the speed of this LFO. So we're gonna drag this on to modulate our cutoff on our main filter. So let's go ahead and open up lane 1. And first off, it's just a distortion which just drives the sound a bit more, gives a bit of stereo spread, and yeah, just kind of blends all of the wavetables together a little bit first. The good thing about one of my favorite things about Phase Plant is that you can layer up your distortion. So obviously in Vital, in the effects section, you only get 1. So that's one great thing about Phase Plant that I like. I've just kind of thought of that this second, actually. One thing that makes it a lot nicer in some regards. So then next part then is to add in the low pass, and I've done a non-linear filter because I want to flavour the low pass with a kind of a specific colour. And so here I've used the clipped mode. Is it? Yes, the clips mode. And obviously I like it on the, you can just hover over the modes, you don't need to click them, and then it'll still give you a preview of that sound. So it kind of just depends what you want, really. Like each mode will always work differently on the different oscillators, you know. So I'm going for the clipped mode here to fit with this screech wavetable, driving that up really nice and high, and then you know the cutoff is pretty much at 0, and then modulating that on our LFO 1 here. Okay, so you've got a really nice fast kind of ARP kind of feeling already, you know. And so what happens then with the pitching? So if I turn this up here, so you can see it starts to pitch down from 3 semitones. And so what I did to achieve that was I basically put another LFO here. Just again, I chose the speed sort of by ear. And then I set that to the master pitch. So I've taken my modulation here, put it to the master pitch, and turned it up +3. So it's going to go up 3 semitones. So starting at the top at 3 semitones, and it's going to go down every time. Batman. Yeah. So how I turn that on is here. You can I love this thing about the. I like the way it's kind of laid out. So you've got the amount of the effect here. So basically, you know, it starts off at 100%. So you know it's actually operational, Captain. And I'll take it down to 0, Captain, and then I put the macro onto here, right? So the macro, as you can see, it goes onto that rectangular bar. So when we turn it up, it's going to activate the LFO. So that means I can have it off and have like a more classic, just straight down the middle of the road. You know, no messing around. Just keep it the same. Keep it DNB. Keep it in F or E, maybe E. And don't dare change the pitch. Anyway, by having it come all the way up, you know, with the macro, now I can activate that pitch down effect if I want. And we can give Tony a little play while we're here as well. Just changing that wavetable to get a bit of a different sound. So anyway. Let's continue with the processing, because obviously we're not yet. We got a lot more to go. So let's get a bit of convolution in. So basically, I've got a convolver with the Eerie loading dock. This is in my top 3 favorites as well, because it's got in the kilohertz convolution recordings. You know what convolution reverb is, don't you? You know you record the sound of a space, and then you use it almost as a sample of that. It's almost a sampled recording of a room or a hall, and the sound runs through that recorded sample. So you can create your own. You can go to a church or a palace or wherever, pop a balloon and record the ambience of the room. They just record the echo after a big noise hit. Balloon popping is great because it doesn't have any tone, and it was just like a quick bang. You basically want like a really quick bang, and then you record what happens after the bang, and that's how you get the room sound. And that's obviously what they do with convolution. So I'm clever, aren't I? No, I learned that at university. I learned that ages ago. But anyway, what you do next then, or you don't have to do it, but what I've done next is then distort it again. So this time a different one. Okay, and this is where we go from, pretty much 40% up to 80% is a big jump again here, And like I kind of did in the last bass as well, it's about, filtering that sound first, like with the low pass filter here, the non-linear one, really taking out a lot of that high end, and then reintroducing it by distorting the hell out of the sound again once it's been made softer with the filter first. So same process as last time, but different sound, different speed of LFO, different kind of idea, but similar effects chain. So after that filter, we distort the sound a lot. So it's up +6, and I've also got it on the LFO, so it's a bit dynamic, the distortion. It's giving a bit of extra movement as well. And also playing on the dynamics knob here, that's also giving a little bit of extra movement here. Okay, and a little bit of spread just to add a little bit more stereo in here. And then that's done quite a lot to the sound already. And then we'll just kind of finish it off with a couple of subtle effects. I won't keep you for too long. And this is just a non-linear. Okay, so I didn't expect it would do that much, but it does a lot. This one is really just increasing the high end a lot more, and you start to hear the little tone of the reverb come out. So this convolution reverb here, it's quite biased towards the high end and a bit resonant, and then when you kind of drive up this non-linear filter here, it really amplifies that part of the reverb. But I quite liked that. And again, here is the digital mode on this non-linear filter. So again, we're doing a different, we're using a different mode to color the sound like one step further, like in a new direction always, So we're not repeating the same modes. We're coloring it always differently. And the digital one here, as you hover over them, it really just stood out. It added like a lot of character in the high end, Almost giving it more of a lead kind of feeling, So I like that. And I'm just toying with the cutoff a little bit on the LFO, and there's not too much else to say about that. Next up then, the chorus. It's a little bit mixed in, just 15%. And I actually like this. It kind of tames the sound a bit because you turn it up, you start to lose a little bit of that bite and a little bit of that organic, dynamic power of the sound, because it's chorusing it all together. So it's kind of like spreading it out a little bit, and you lose a bit of that mono kind of power. But it was already such a powerful bass. So just to give it a little bit of a smoothness, I suppose. That's why I chorused it just a little bit, like 15%. I didn't want to lose all of that dynamic power, but I kind of went the other way in actually softening the sound a little bit with that. Next up then, a convolver, and this is again the Falkland Palace, which is the one I really, really like, and it's just a big badass bassy reverb that, like I said before, it doesn't always make sense to leave the low end in on your reverb, but within the sound design process, like it's kind of okay, just as long as it sounds good. So I've got that in there just a little bit, and then I'm doing a little final boost on the high end. So this is the 3-band EQ, and I take the high end. I think I'm around down to about 1,000 here on about 1,000 hertz and upwards. And just a little high shelf boost, which is dynamic. So that's on the LFO, so it's boosting up the high end. If you hear the difference, it's just Yeah, it just re-brings out a little bit. Re-brings out, is that a word? I don't know. It re-brings out a little bit more extra bite in the sound, but also it's doing it in line with the movement of everything else. So you get that dynamic edge to the whole high end of the sound. So I really like this one. It's the Pirate Troopers. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with these last two phase plant presets. I'm currently in the process of designing some more. And as soon as I get another one that I feel sounds wicked, like this one I really, really like, and the one from yesterday, the Reese, these two, I really, really like them both. And as soon as I get another one that I feel is on the same level, then I'll share it with you guys in another tutorial. And like I said before, make sure you subscribe if you want to get a free Vital preset pack. I mean, why not? It's not, it's not much work, is it? I don't know what the stats are, but there's always like 50% of people who watch the videos are not subscribed or something. And you might as well do it so that you get some freebies, I suppose. So let's go. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, my G's. Hope you have a productive week, and I'll be back as soon as I can create something epic with phase plant or Vital. And also, if I think of any other good just mix down tips or producer mindset advice, then I'll be back with another vid as soon as possible. Peace out.